What's going on YouTube? It's Pelfrey. This is the Red Sea Reefer 250. If you don't know what that is, this is about 60-ish gallons of total water volume, including the sump. Real quick, if you're not on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. Sign up for Instagram. It takes about 5 seconds to sign up for Instagram. Follow me at Pelfrey's Reef. Check out the website and check out this t-shirt. So you probably know, if you're on Instagram, you probably know who Eat Sleep Reef is and Aquaman Shalom. They started a website called Reef Teez. They're also on Instagram. I'll leave all that information in the description below. They sent me the shirt and some stickers, and the shirt is awesome. Actually, it's got their logo here on the back of it. The shirt fits well, it's comfortable, and the logo feels, it feels great. I've ran it through the washer and had no issues with it. So, I really like the shirt. So thank you very much, Eat Sleep Reef and Aquaman Shalom and Reef Teez. As far as the tank is concerned, it's doing okay. I did test the water, and the alkalinity was 8. The calcium was 390, so not, I'd like to have it about 420. The magnesium was 1250. Obviously, I'd like to have that a little bit higher as well. Phosphates were 0.07, nitrates were 2, and my salinity is 1.025. So pretty happy with that. I've actually not done a water change in about 4 weeks now, and that's simply because I'm trying to raise the nutrients in the tank. And the simple way to do that is to, for me, not do water changes. So I'm pretty lucky, whereas this morning, like I said, I tested and there were nitrates. Now I usually read phosphates of some form or fashion. It's really windy right now, so excuse that. Nitrates, on the other hand, are hit or miss. This tank usually runs 0 nitrates, and I end up dosing nitrates. But I've not done a water change, and I've actually removed probably 80 to 90% of the pond matrix out of the sump. And I'm hoping that removing that pond matrix will also help with the nitrate issue. So I have lost, I laugh because it's just a revolving door for me whenever it comes to SPS corals. I have lost the majority of the SPS corals. The Miyagi Tort is still hanging on, the Green Slimer is still hanging on, and ironically enough, the Magic Kingdom acro that I got from Pieces of the Ocean that was on top of the big rock structure was knocked off, and it was on the sand bed. Something moved it up here to the rock structure. I haven't had my hand in this tank for a couple weeks now, and something moved it up to the rock structure. Speaking of not having my hands in the tank, I need to kind of get in and get the dead corals out. There are a bunch of empty snail shells and whatnot that I would like to get out of the tank, but I really don't want to spend 20, 30 bucks on the little Tunze grabbers, and really don't want to stick my hands in the tank right now because everything seems to be going pretty good for me right now. All right, let's pick up where we left off there. I do have my laptop with Apex Fusion open, and I do have a Radeon View profile set up so that the camera can pick up the tank. So that's actually with the view on, and if I turn it off, this is what the tank actually looks like right now, which I don't think the camera has a problem picking up on it too bad, just because it's not super blue. Forgot, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I did move some of the mushrooms around in the tank, and the only reason I did that is because since I have the empty tins on the back glass now, and they're blowing flow to the front in a 20-inch, I guess it's 20 inches, the mushrooms were getting hammered pretty hard. This one's kind of closed up. I think one of the emerald crabs was over there aggravating it a little bit ago. Speaking of the emerald crabs, I've talked about them a couple times now. I added 3 emerald crabs to this tank from Reef Cleaners, and they guarantee you that they'll eat bubble algae or they'll give you your money back. And excuse me there. The bubble algae in this tank, it's gone. I mean, there's still some bubble algae in the tank, but it was getting pretty bad. Matter of fact, it was getting so bad that I did buy some Vibrant, and I was gonna go in the direction of Vibrant first, but I really didn't want to dose the tank with Vibrant. I know, especially reading on Reef to Reef, I read a lot about Vibrant, and a lot of people had great success with Vibrant. And then you had the one-off people that actually had, you know, cyano pop up after the vibrant dosage. So I decided to try the emerald crabs, and actually, since I was ordering from Reef Cleaners and emerald crabs require, I think, 2-day shipping, I had some type of red turf algae growing on the rocks. So on the Reef Cleaners website, they actually have a pretty much like a catalog of algae and what you can get to combat that algae. So they suggested some type of snail, and I picked up that whatever that type of snail was. I don't remember off the top of my head at the moment. And they've done well for the tank. They've done this middle rock again was pretty red, and not like coralline algae red. It was red from turf algae. So the snails have definitely done their job here. Coralline algae in this tank is it's doing okay. I actually started dosing kalkwasser about 2 weeks ago probably, and I'm dosing about 45 milliliters a day. I've been testing alkalinity every day for the last week and a half or so, and it's spot on at 8. So the kalkwasser is definitely helping out. Now, I hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot here, but this tank has always run a low pH. When I say low pH, I'm talking like 7.6, 7.7, 7.8, somewhere in that range. And obviously the kalkwasser is supposed to raise that up. And I do have a Neptune Apex, but the pH probe that I have for the tank, it quit working like 6-8 months ago, and I just haven't replaced it. I haven't really had a need to replace it. I do plan to put a pH probe on this tank at some point again, but for now, I'm just, you know, it is what it is. It's whatever. But the kalkwasser does a couple things. Obviously, it's going to keep the parameters stable. I know that I'm not using a ton of calcium and alkalinity, but the tank does have coralline algae in it, so that is obviously going to consume those two elements. But since I have a smaller auto top-off container now, and even a little bit of dosing of kalkwasser helps conserve the 6 gallons of auto top-off water that I have. So it's definitely you know, a trade-off, but it is helping at the same time, because in the winter months, whenever the heater's on, I go through about 1 gallon of auto top-off water a day on this tank here. So obviously, if you have a bigger tank, you're going to have bigger auto top-off concerns. So I have noticed, interesting enough, I'm looking at the Royal Grommas here, I have noticed that I think the bigger one here has developed some form of an attitude towards a couple different fish, which is kind of, you know, strange to me. I don't really see him picking on the other Royal Gromma too bad, but he's definitely, he thinks it's his tank, he or she, whatever it is. They think that it's their tank, and you know, it is what it is. You can't really do anything about that particular hierarchy unless you want to do I guess some folks claim you can do a rescape, and you know, this is the result. So I do plan to get some more corals. I'm not really sure when. There's a frag swap coming up that I may try to go to. It'll be about a 5-hour round trip drive, but it would be nice to go to a frag swap, be able to look at corals, a lot of vendors, and pick out some corals and bring them home. So at the end, I'm not done with SPS yet. A lot of the problems that I have with SPS, and I get it, it's self-inflicted. I mean, this tank's been running for about 2.5 years now. So, you know, I think I've done well over the last couple weeks, and left it alone. You know, like I said, no water changes and no nothing. The auto feeder feeds twice a day. I feed a frozen pellet about every other day, and then a couple times a week I throw some Reeferoids in that frozen pellet, and then also a couple times a week I put some Silcon in with the frozen pellet as well. A quick update on the Gyre pumps. I did sell one pump online, and then the second pump that I had in the sump, I decided that that was just extreme overkill as far as having a Maxspect Gyre and a sump running at like 10%. So I pulled it out of the tank and I sold it to a guy locally. And what I'll probably do, just because the refugium chamber is pretty big in the sump, is probably pick up like a PP8 or something from Jabo and throw it in there. That way I do have some controllability, but you know, I can dial it down, but I still have some flow to kind of mix up the detritus and whatnot in the sump. But there shouldn't be much detritus settling down there now that I've pulled the majority of the pond matrix out, and I do plan to take the rest of it out. I'm just doing it over a period of time so that I don't make any significant changes to the tank. And then whenever I'm pulling the pond matrix out, I'm actually using a net to pull it out so I don't have to stick my hand inside of the tank. In one of my previous videos, I did talk about the waterfall from the refugium going into the skimmer section. And again, talking to my network of people that I've dealt with for a couple of years now, talking back and forth with Scurvy's Reef, he suggested that I turn the Neptune core pump down. And basically when I had the Reefer sump in the tank, I ran the core pump at like 72%, which you have to think that it's going from a 1 1/4 down to a 1 inch, down to a 3/4 inch, down to a 1/2 inch coming into the tank. So 70% seems like a lot, but because of the reduction of the piping, I was, you know, estimated getting a couple 100 gallons an hour. So anyway, I had the pump set at 73.2 or 4%, whatever it was, whenever I put it in the new sump. I lowered it to 45%, and the water fog from the refugium going into the skimmer section is pretty much gone. So that definitely helped the sump noise as far as slowing the water down that went through the sump. So I'm very satisfied with that. And that's I don't know, that's probably about it for now. There's been a lot of things that I'd like to get as far as coral wise, but I'm kind of holding off now because I do want more SPS, but I want to see how these couple pieces right here are going to do before I jump into that again. So again, I'll leave the Reef Teez Instagram and website in the description below. And if you're on Instagram, check me out at Pelfrey's Reef. And that's going to do it for this update. So if you got any comments, questions, suggestions, leave them down below, and I'll be glad to answer whatever I can. And as always, I do appreciate everyone's input. Without the help of YouTube, Instagram, Reef to Reef, I definitely would not be as far as I am today. So thank you all for your help and support, and I'll catch you on the next one.